little ones love stories. They love the sound of your voice, they love the words, the colours, the pictures, and they can learn so much from them. And that's from the stories from your own life, stories about friends and family, and stories from books. The Bible is a book of lots of different stories, all about different people and how they relate to God. It was written over a period of about 1500 years by lots of different people, over 40 different men and women from all walks of life, from shepherds to shop workers and kings and government officials. All sorts of different people contributed. And it contains all sorts of different types of writing as well. So there's law, there's poetry, wisdom, letters, history, and lots about Jesus and his life. It includes things like parables, which is where Jesus told a story with a meaning to help us to understand something. Now, as you read the Bible to your child, they're going to get to understand more about God and who he is, because they get to see how different people relate to him. And that shows different ways that God hears us, that he understands us, and that he wants to get to know us. Joshua led the people across the River Jordan to the Promised Land. They carried the special box from God's tent. They marched. You like marching, don't you? Marching. They marched to the great city of Jericho. How could they ever capture it? By reading a range of different stories, your child will get to see different aspects of God's character, understand how he relates to different people and how they relate to him, and get to see some of the different ways that he shows us that he loves us, that he understands us, and that he wants to do life with us. There are loads of different sorts of Bibles that you can get. I've got just a couple here. Have a look, try some out. You might want to borrow one from the library, from your church, from a friend first to see what you like. Be led by what interests you. Remember, you're going to have to read this as well. And if you think it's really boring, then it's going to be dull for your child too. There's lots of apps as well, so that might be something you want to try out. You can also get books of the Bible that are just one little story. So those might be a good place to start if you feel a bit overwhelmed. Part of the joy of stories is that they often prompt us to ask questions and wonder about the experiences and the emotions of the characters within the story. So as you're reading the Bible with your child, feel free to point things out. You can ask questions and wonder together. So let's have a look. Oh, so this character here, I can say, oh, I wonder how they're feeling. What was that like? I wonder what they're going to do next. It doesn't matter if you don't know the answers, if you've never seen these stories before, or if you've read them 100 million times and you feel like you know it all. You will get a different perspective as you read them and look at them with your child. What do you think she's thinking? The Pharaoh, do you think he's really angry? Yeah? You can help your child get to know that the same God that is in their life and that they're getting to know is in the Bible by pointing out where he is in the story. You might think that sounds a bit strange and tricky, but it can just be as simple as saying, oh, I wonder what God's going to do next. Or if you were in charge, like God is here, what would you do? Or I wonder what God is thinking or feeling. You might want to point out what's going on with the different characters as well, the kind of emotions or what they might be going through. So you could say, oh, I felt really brave like Esther in this one. Or have you ever felt really afraid like Peter? Why don't we tell God about that time where we felt afraid and kind of use it as a chance to pray and to chat to God out of it. Help them to understand any unusual or difficult words. So for example, we don't use the word disciples very much at the moment, but if you were to say the friends of Jesus, they'd probably know what you were talking about. It also doesn't matter if you don't know those words and you need to go and ask someone or look them up. Don't be embarrassed or shy about that. You can of course read Bible stories at any time of day, but lots of people find that bedtime is a really nice time to snuggle up together and share a story. At the end of the day, we are all exhausted, parents included, And I know it can feel like a total mission just to get them in bed, get out of there, and either collapse on the sofa or go and tackle your email inbox or that mound of housework that you've got to do. But if we can just pause for a moment, take a teeny little bit of extra time, this is a really amazing opportunity to connect them to God, who's going to be with them throughout the night, and just make them really aware of his presence and feel safe and loved and secure. So I'm going to suggest 3 things which might be helpful to do. As with any of our suggestions, do adapt this and make your own. So the first one is to connect them to you. Whether you've been with them all day or you've hardly seen them, this is a really nice time to make them feel safe and valued and loved and known by you. So people like to do that in all sorts of different ways, but a kiss, a cuddle, saying I love you, those are all pretty safe bets and nice easy ways to do it. As they get a bit older and they're able to respond to you, you can also ask questions about their day. So you can ask them, hey, what was hard today? Or was there anything that worried you? What made you laugh today? Or what did you really enjoy? What was the silliest thing that happened today? It doesn't really matter what the questions are. You're just giving them an opportunity to share with you and to know that you're listening and wanting to understand them and be part of their world. So after you've connected them to you, secondly, connect them to God. It's amazing to be able to reassure them that God is with them every minute of every day, and that includes right through the night too, because God never sleeps. Even if mummy or daddy or whoever their grown-up is isn't there with them, they can be sure that God is. This is an invaluable skill for them as babies and toddlers, but also as they grow up. I don't know about you, but I've spent many nights lying in bed, remembering mistakes and processing worries, thinking about the future. And if we can teach them to connect with God in that time, to chat to him and share that with him, that's going to set them up really, really well. So there's a few different ways to do this, and you might want to change it as they grow up. But you can share a Bible story like we've just been talking about and wander and chat to God through that together. You can give them some ideas of things to chat to God about, some little prompts and kind of starters. You can pray for them and speak a blessing or speak some words from the Bible over them. Or just leave them to chat to God themselves. Let them kind of free flow with that and see where it goes. And then thirdly, offer them a next step. Our children don't need us in order to connect with God. They can do it on their own. And part of helping them to grow and mature spiritually is setting them up in order to do that. So you might want to leave them with an idea or a prompt, just in your language and how you leave them for bedtime. So you might want to say something like, Mummy's going downstairs now, but feel free to keep chatting to God. He's with you always. Or keep it really simple, like sleep well, God's with you right through the night, just so that they're really aware with that. And then depending on your family's rules and routines, you might want to leave them with a children's Bible and say, feel free to look at the stories with God as you snuggle down now. You might want to leave some worship music playing, have a certain song or a way of doing that. Whatever helps them to connect with God when you're not there. Don't worry if this looks different for your family to other families. You can find your own version and it will change as they get older and they adapt and grow as well. That's absolutely fine. And don't worry if you're not consistent every night. It's not like a magic formula that you have to do. But at some point, try out those 3 things. So firstly, connecting them to you. Secondly, connecting them to God. And thirdly, giving them a next step so they know how to take it forward without you being there.